Michael Joseph Jackson was born on August 29, 1958, in Gary, Indiana, a working-class city defined by its steel mills and economic struggles. The eighth of 10 children in an African-American family, Michael grew up in a cramped two-bedroom house on Jackson Street, an address that would later seem prophetic. His father, Joseph Jackson, worked as a crane operator and played guitar in a local R&B band, the Falcons, harboring unfulfilled dreams of musical stardom. His mother, Catherine, was a homemaker with a deep love for music, singing gospel hymns and playing piano with a quiet grace that contrasted with Joseph's stern demeanor. The Jackson household was a blend of love, discipline, and ambition, but also tension, shaped by economic hardship and Joseph's authoritarian parenting. From an early age, Michael displayed an extraordinary gift for music. Catherine recalled him singing as a toddler, mimicking melodies with a clarity that belied his years. By age 5, he was performing at school talent shows, his voice and charisma captivating audiences. Joseph, recognizing potential in his children, formed the Jackson Brothers in 1964, initially featuring Michael's older brothers Jackie, Tito, and Jermaine. Michael joined as percussionist, banging on bongos with infectious energy, but his vocal talent soon demanded center stage. By 1966, renamed the Jackson 5, the group was performing at local venues, winning talent competitions across Indiana and the Midwest. Joseph's relentless drive pushed the boys to rehearse for hours, often under harsh discipline that included verbal reprimands and physical punishment. Michael later described this period as a mix of opportunity and fear, with Joseph's belt looming as a constant threat. Yet, the grueling rehearsals honed their act into a polished spectacle, blending tight harmonies, synchronized choreography, and Michael's precocious showmanship. In 1968, the Jackson 5 auditioned for Motown Records in Detroit, captivating founder Berry Gordy with their energy and Michael's magnetic presence. At just 10 years old, Michael's voice carried the soulful depth of a seasoned performer, his ability to convey emotion far beyond his years. Signed to Motown in 1969, the group relocated to Los Angeles, where they were groomed into pop sensations. Their debut single, I Want You Back, released in October 1969, soared to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, its infectious rhythm and Michael's soaring vocals capturing the zeitgeist. The song's success was no fluke. It was followed by a string of chart toppers, ABC, The Love You Save, and I'll Be There, each showcasing the group's versatility and Michael's star power. Motown marketed the Jackson 5 as a wholesome, family-friendly act, their matching outfits and infectious smiles masking the pressures behind the scenes. For Michael, fame meant constant touring, media appearances, and recording sessions, leaving little room for a normal childhood. He later spoke of watching other children play from hotel windows, yearning for the freedom he could never have. Motown saw Michael's potential as a solo artist early on. In 1971, at age 13, he released Got to Be There, a tender ballad that reached #4 on the Billboard Hot 100. The following year, Ben, the theme for a film about a boy and his pet rat, became his first solo #1 hit and earned a Grammy nomination. These early solo efforts revealed a depth and emotional maturity that set Michael apart, his voice conveying a longing that resonated with listeners. However, Motown's tightly controlled production frustrated him, as he had little say in song selection or arrangements. The label's formula, while successful, began to feel restrictive as Michael's musical ambitions grew. By the mid-1970s, the Jackson 5's popularity waned as musical tastes shifted toward disco and funk, and Motown's reluctance to innovate stifled the group's evolution. In 1975, seeking greater creative control, the Jacksons, minus Jermaine, who stayed with Motown, signed with Epic Records, rebranding as the Jacksons. As the Jacksons, Michael took on a more prominent role in songwriting and production. Their 1978 album Destiny marked a turning point, with hits like Blame It on the Boogie and Shake Your Body Down the Ground, the latter co-written by Michael and showcased his knack for infectious rhythms. The 1980 album Triumph further highlighted his growing influence, with tracks like Can You Feel It blending funk, pop, and social commentary. Michael's vision was expanding, and his collaboration with producer Quincy Jones on Off the Wall, 1979, marked his emergence as a solo artist of unparalleled ambition. The album, a vibrant fusion of disco, funk, and pop, featured hits like Don't Stop Till You Get Enough and Rock With You, both written by Michael. His innovative use of rhythm, layered vocals, and dynamic arrangements earned critical acclaim, and Off the Wall sold over 20 million copies worldwide. The album was a declaration of independence, showcasing Michael's ability to craft music that was both commercially irresistible and artistically groundbreaking. Michael's rise with the Jackson 5 and his early solo work had a profound cultural impact. As one of the first African-American child stars to achieve global fame, he broke racial barriers in a music industry still shaped by segregation. The Jackson 5's crossover appeal brought black music to mainstream audiences, paving the way for future artists. Yet, Michael's childhood was marked by isolation and pressure. Constant touring, media scrutiny, and Joseph's domineering control left him yearning for normalcy. He described feeling like a performing monkey, a sentiment that would shape his complex relationship with fame. By the late 1970s, Michael was poised for a seismic leap, his talent and ambition setting the stage for the phenomenon that would become Thriller. In 1982, Michael Jackson released Thriller, an album that would redefine pop music and cement his status as the king of pop produced by Quincy Jones. Thriller was a meticulously crafted masterpiece that blended pop, rock, funk, R&B, and even elements of world music into a cohesive, universally appealing sound. Michael's goal was audacious, to create an album where every song could be a hit. He poured his heart into the project, writing for the 9 tracks. Wanna Be Starting Something, The Girl Is Mine, Billie Jean, and Beat It. The recording process was intense, with Michael and Jones spending months perfecting each track in Los Angeles' Westlake Studios. Billie Jean, inspired by a real-life encounter with an obsessive fan, became a personal anthem, its pulsating bass line and Michael's emotive delivery capturing themes of paranoia and betrayal. Beat It, with its rock-infused edge and Eddie Van Halen's blistering guitar solo, was a bold crossover that appealed to rock audiences. The title track, Thriller, with its cinematic narrative and Vincent Price's eerie voiceover, was a genre-defining blend of pop and horror. The album's success was amplified by its revolutionary music videos, which transformed the medium from promotional clips to cinematic art. The Billie Jean video, directed by Steve Barron, featured Michael's mesmerizing dance moves and a glowing sidewalk, a visual metaphor for his star power. It broke MTV's color barrier, as the network had previously been reluctant to air videos by black artists, forcing executives to reconsider their programming. The Beat It video, directed by Bob Giraldi, blended gritty choreography with a narrative of gang reconciliation, showcasing Michael's storytelling prowess. But it was the 14-minute Thriller video, directed by John Landis, that changed the game. Premiering on MTV in December 1983, the zombie-themed epic was a cultural event, blending horror, dance, and narrative in a way that had never been done before. Costing $500,000, an unprecedented sum at the time, the video was a gamble that paid off, becoming a global phenomenon and making Michael a pioneer of the music video era. Thriller was a commercial juggernaut, selling over 70 million copies worldwide and becoming the best-selling album of all time. It spent 37 weeks at #1 on the Billboard 200 and produced 7 top 10 singles, including The Girl Is Mine, a duet with Paul McCartney, Human Nature, and P.Y.T., Pretty Young Thing. Michael won 8 Grammy Awards in 1984, a record at the time, and his crossover appeal shattered racial and genre boundaries. He became a global ambassador for pop music, with fans in every corner of the world, from Tokyo to Johannesburg. The Thriller era also saw Michael's iconic fashion, sequin gloves, red leather jackets, and fedoras, become a cultural shorthand for cool. His dance moves, particularly the moonwalk, debuted during the 1983 Motown 25 television special, captivated audiences, and became a hallmark of his performances. Inspired by street dancers and refined by Michael's precision, the moonwalk was a visual metaphor for his ability to glide effortlessly between musical and cultural worlds. The Thriller era was not without challenges. Michael's physical appearance began to change, sparking speculation about plastic surgery and skin lightening. He later confirmed having vitiligo, a condition that causes loss of skin pigmentation, but media scrutiny intensified, often portraying him as eccentric or unnatural. His perfectionism strained relationships as he demanded excellence from everyone around him, from engineers to dancers. The pressure to follow Thriller-esque success loomed large, and Michael retreated further into a private world, surrounded by a small circle of trusted friends like Elizabeth Taylor and Quincy Jones. Despite these challenges, Thriller-esque impact was undeniable. It redefined the possibilities of pop music, elevated the music video to an art form, and made Michael Jackson a global icon whose influence transcended borders and generations. Determined to surpass Thriller, Michael released Bad in 1987, his third collaboration with Quincy Jones. The album was edgier, reflecting a more assertive and socially conscious Michael. Tracks like Bad, with its streetwise swagger, Smooth Criminal, with its cinematic intensity, and Man in the Mirror, a gospel-infused call for personal change, showcases versatility. The Bad World Tour, his first as a solo artist, was a spectacle of choreography and stagecraft, grossing over $125 million across 123 shows. The album sold 35 million copies and produced 5 #1 singles: Bad, I Just Can't Stop Loving You, The Way You Make Me Feel, Man in the Mirror, and Dirty Diana, a record at the time. Yet, critics inevitably compared Bad to Thriller, with some arguing it lacked the same universal appeal. For Michael, however, Bad was a triumph of artistic growth, proving he could evolve while maintaining commercial dominance. In 1991, Michael released Dangerous, produced by Teddy Riley, a pioneer of the new jack swing sound. The album was a bold evolution, blending hip-hop, R&B, and pop with tracks like Black or White, Remember the Time, and Heal the World. The Black or White video, with its groundbreaking morphing technology and message of racial unity, was a global hit, though its controversial ending, featuring Michael smashing windows in symbolic protest, drew criticism for its perceived aggression. Remember the Time, directed by John Singleton, celebrated African culture with a star-studded cast, while Heal the World reflected Michael's growing humanitarian focus. Dangerous sold 32 million copies and reaffirmed his relevance in a music landscape now dominated by grunge and gangsta rap. The Dangerous World Tour, with its elaborate staging and global reach, further solidified his status as a live performer, though the physical toll performing began to show. The early 1990s marked a turning point in Michael's personal life. His eccentricities, such as his pet chimpanzee, Bubbles, and rumors of sleeping in a hyperbaric chamber, fueled a media narrative that painted him as increasingly bizarre. In 1993, allegations of child molestation surfaced when a 13-year-old boy claimed Michael had abused him. The accusations shocked the world, tarnishing his wholesome image. A thorough investigation found no evidence to support the claims and no charges were filed, but Michael settled with the boy's family for $23 million, a decision that fueled speculation and damaged his reputation. He maintained his innocence, describing the ordeal as devastating, and many fans believed he was targeted due to his fame and wealth. The allegations exacerbated Michael's struggles with fame's isolating effects. He became dependent on painkillers and sedatives, a problem that began during the 1984 Victory Tour when he suffered burns from a pyrotechnic accident. His health deteriorated, and his behavior grew erratic, though he continued to create and perform at an extraordinary level. Despite personal turmoil, Michael's creative output remained prolific. His 1995 album History, Past, Present, and Future, book I was a double disc of greatest hits and new material, including the anthemic Earth Song, a powerful plea for environmental action, and Stranger in Moscow, a haunting reflection on his isolation. The album sold 20 million copies and showcased his ability to channel pain into art. The History World Tour, with its elaborate staging and global reach, drew millions, though critics noted signs of physical and emotional strain. Michael's humanitarian efforts also intensified, with donations to charities and the establishment of the Heal the World Foundation. However, the media often overlooked these efforts, focusing instead on sensational headlines about his appearance and lifestyle. By the mid-1990s, Michael was at a crossroads, his artistic brilliance overshadowed by personal struggles and a media eager to exploit his vulnerabilities. In 2001, Michael released Invincible, his first studio album in 6 years. Costing $30 million to produce, it was the most expensive album ever made, featuring collaborations with Rodney Jerkins and guest appearances by artists like Carlos Santana. Tracks like You Rock My World, with its sleek production and infectious groove, and Butterflies, a smooth R&B ballad, were well received, but the album's promotion was hampered by disputes with Sony Music. Michael accused the label of undermarketing the project due to racial bias and corporate greed, a claim that resonated with some fans but alienated industry insiders. Invincible sold 13 million copies, a commercial success by most standards, but a disappointment compared to his earlier work. The early 2000s were a difficult period for Michael. The 9/11 attacks canceled a planned Madison Square Garden special, and his public appearances grew sporadic. In 2002, a bizarre incident in Berlin, where he briefly dangled his infant son blanket over a balcony, drew global criticism, further fueling the narrative of his eccentricity. In 2003, new allegations of child molestation emerged, leading to a highly publicized trial in 2005. Michael was charged with multiple counts related to a 13-year-old boy, a cancer survivor, who had spent time at Michael's Neverland Ranch. The trial was a media circus, with every detail dissected by tabloids and cable news. Michael maintained his innocence, and after a 5-month trial, he was acquitted on all counts in June 2005. The victory came at a cost. The trial took a severe toll on his health and reputation. Physically frail and emotionally drained, Michael retreated from the public eye, spending time in Bahrain, Ireland, and other locations in search of privacy and a fresh start. He focused on raising his 3 children, Prince, Paris, and Blanket, shielding them from the spotlight that had defined his own life. By 2009, Michael was planning a major comeback with the This Is It residency, a series of 50 concerts at London's O2 Arena. The shows were designed to showcase his enduring talent and introduce new material, with Michael collaborating with choreographers and musicians to create a spectacle worthy of his legacy. Rehearsal footage later revealed him in strong form, his voice clear and his dance moves sharp, defying concerns about his health. Tragically, on June 25, 2009, Michael died of cardiac arrest caused by a propofol overdose, administered by his personal physician, Dr. Conrad Murray. The news sent shockwaves around the world, with fans gathering in cities from New York to Tokyo to mourn the loss of musical titan. Murray was later convicted of involuntary manslaughter, but the tragedy left lingering questions about Michael's dependence on prescription drugs and the pressures of his planned comeback. Michael's death sparked a renewed appreciation for his contributions. Posthumous releases like Michael, 2010, and Escape, 2014, kept his music alive, though some fans questioned the ethics of releasing unfinished material. The 2009 documentary, This Is It, compiled from rehearsal footage, showcased his creative process and dedication, reminding the world of his genius. Tributes from artists like Beyoncé, Justin Timberlake, and The Weeknd underscored his influence on modern music, with his genre-blending sound and innovative videos shaping the industry. Michael's humanitarian work, including millions donated to causes like famine relief in children's hospitals, also gained renewed attention, though it remained overshadowed by controversies during his lifetime. Michael Jackson's personal life was a complex tapestry of contradictions. A global superstar who craved privacy, a childlike soul navigating an adult's world. His brief marriages to Lisa Marie Presley, 1994 to 1996, and Debbie Rowe, 1996 to 1999, were scrutinized relentlessly by the media. His relationship with Presley, daughter of Elvis, was seen by some as a publicity stunt, though both insisted it was genuine. Rowe, a nurse, bore him 2 children, Prince and Paris, and their marriage was largely functional, ending amicably. A 3rd child, Blanket, was born via surrogate in 2002. Michael was a devoted father, often seen shielding his children with masks or veils to protect their privacy. His love for them was evident in his efforts to provide the childhood he never had, complete with trips to amusement parks and bedtime stories. His friendships with figures like Elizabeth Taylor, Macaulay Culkin, and Princess Diana revealed a man who sought genuine connection but struggled with trust. His love for animals, amusement parks, and children reflected a longing to reclaim the innocence of youth, but it also fueled public misperceptions. The media often portrayed him as eccentric or bizarre, focusing on his changing appearance and unconventional lifestyle. Michael confirmed having vitiligo and limited plastic surgery, But tabloids speculated wildly, creating a caricature that overshadowed his humanity. Michael's cultural and social impact was profound. He broke racial barriers, making MTV and pop radio more inclusive, and paving the way for artists like Prince and Whitney Houston. His music videos elevated the medium to an art form, influencing filmmakers and artists across genres. His dance moves, the moonwalk, the anti-gravity lean, became cultural icons, imitated by millions. His fashion, from military jackets to armbands, set trends worldwide. Songs like Heal the World, Earth Song, and They Don't Care About Us tackled environmentalism, poverty, and injustice, though some critics dismiss his approach as naive. His global appeal made him a unifying figure, with fans chanting his lyrics in unison from Rio to Moscow. The allegations of 1993 and 2005 remain a polarizing aspect of his legacy. Supporters argue he was a victim of extortion and media sensationalism, pointing to his acquittal and lack of evidence. Critics cite the settlements and his unconventional relationships with children as troubling. The 2019 documentary Leaving Neverland, in which two men alleged abuse, reignited debate, though their claims were contested by Michael's estate and fans, who noted inconsistencies and lack of corroboration. The controversy continues to divide, with some seeing Michael as a misunderstood artist and others questioning his behavior. Michael Jackson's life was a paradox, a story of unparalleled success and profound loneliness, of innovation and controversy, of genius and tragedy. His music, from the infectious joy of I Want You Back to the haunting introspection of Stranger Moscow, remains a testament to his artistry. His ability to transcend racial, cultural, and generational divides made him a global icon. His vulnerability, expressed in songs and interviews, humanized him, making his struggles relatable to millions. Though his life was cut short, his legacy endures, inspiring artists and fans alike. Michael Jackson was, and will always be, the king of pop,